I'm Catherine Barnett, and I'm an art education major at Western Carolina University, and I'm hoping to teach high school art. So when it comes to intern one, something that I kind of pride myself on that could be beneficial for my host school is my knowledge of ceramics. I'm in ceramics 3 right now, so I've had plenty of time to learn all kinds of stuff about throwing and hand building, slip casting, all that stuff. And I feel like ceramics is somewhat underrepresented in K 12 education, simply because there's limited materials and limited space, but there are ways of making ceramics work in the classroom, and I feel like I could bring some pretty fresh ideas into that school, whichever school that I'm placed in. As far as my host school goes, my only expectation is that they're open to fine arts and that they take it seriously. I feel like a lot of schools are kind of putting fine arts on the back burner, and they're kind of getting rid of fine arts and theater and music, all that stuff. And that can be pretty detrimental. So I'm basically just looking for a school that supports art. My teaching philosophy is pretty simple. It's more on the progressive side, just because I feel like students should be allowed to take what they're learning and kind of run with it and use it to fit their lives specifically, so that way they can express themselves. So to do that, an effective classroom environment would be one that basically just allows for them to create. So you'd have your lecture time explaining things, convincing them that art is important, because it is, and then leave the rest of the period for them to work on projects. So my teaching style is also pretty simple. I want to teach them the importance of craft before art, because you can teach craft, but you can't necessarily teach art specifically. So I want to teach them how to use the materials effectively, as well as elements and principles of design, all those fundamentals, the history behind it, why it's important, all that stuff. But I don't want to see cookie cutter projects in my classroom, because they're not going to learn anything from it. I mean, you can have like 30 students drawing a dog in Keith Haring style, but that doesn't really open up for expression, which is the reason we make art today and have made art for millions of years. So it's just important to me that students are given what they need to succeed and fully understand fine arts, but then make it their own and make it meaningful to them, because it's going to stick with them longer that way. When it comes to feedback and criticism, that's a big part of the art world. So I'm constantly receiving feedback and criticism from my peers, especially on big critique days. So that doesn't really feel very different to me going into the teaching side of things. But then again, it's also really important to keep an open mind and understand that criticism is important for you to grow, because it's not just your own personal growth that's important, but also the growth of your students. And if you're not allowing yourself to grow and be criticized in order to do that, your students aren't really going to improve either, if that makes sense. So taking criticism is really, really important, whether it's about your art or if it's about your teaching style. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.